Hello, agus fáilte go trí seascad den program ag BBC ALBA had alga Iona Ballantyne agus is scíalchan ingantach an Salesforce na ALBA. Is Iona Ballantyne agus ha mi tolly cheirach fel manager Clann-Nighean agus Rangers Rangers NicDhòmhnaill erasure colrooms in studio. Ag program na Giofnag, fi mi hínas súlaráis go mhòr ag mullach in SWPL hin. Clann-Nighean vo club artach skip a ball-coise Giffnock agus had trí seascad $1 cuibhle agus bruidhinn Ghrannd. Amy, welcome back to 360.
Thank you.
It feels like well, thanks for coming back, because it does feel like every time we've got you on there's a very big game to prepare for.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, just tell us, we are into the second half of the season, how do you feel like things have been going so far?
I think it's just been really nice to get some consistency, because it's been felt like so stop-start in every part of life. So just to be able to have the first half of the season, which is really nice to allow the players to go and spend time with their family, for us to be able to spend time with our family this Christmas and then back to business.
Would you say getting back to business this time feels different from last season? Because this point last season things did change, sorry to say, for Rangers. You were at the top of the table and things did move. There was a lot of stop and start again with the pandemic, but how crucial is it for Rangers now to kind of retain that top spot?
I think there's probably still going to be a lot of twists and turns, which to the general public is probably really exciting. I think that we just need to be prepared and focus on the processes and the way that we want to do things. But I think the league is so much stronger and nothing's guaranteed, you know. So where we are now and where we are in a few weeks, and it's how, if things don't go our way, how we recover from that, that's going to be really important. Do
things feel different, very different this season, even from the past couple of months?
It feels like a completely different season. But I think when you look back to the year, people are still having to really adjust in loads of different ways, and just kind of in life in general. So it feels like we've really kind of hit and been able to kind of capitalise and build a bit of momentum now across the full league, gets kind of a sustainable and consistent product out there. And I think that for the neutral, our game against Hibs as well, really competitive matches. There's loads of competitive matches happening up and down the league from top to bottom this year, which is really nice as well, because everybody's fighting for something to stay in the league or to get as high up as possible.
It is good to see from the outside looking onto the league, because scorelines are much tighter. There are still bigger gaps, but actually on the whole, the kind of levels are maybe, would you say, starting to match a bit more?
Yeah, and I think that even in the games where there are the bigger score lines, it's probably not really reflective of the game. It can come down to maybe individual errors or circumstance and things, whereas before, not that it was a given that you would go into some games, but you would win, but you kind of knew, whereas this season you absolutely can't take anything for granted, and I think that was proven in the Glasgow City-Hamilton game, because I think Glasgow City scored in the last few minutes, and it changes the dynamics, because whether it's 4th, 5th or 10th in the league, you need to be switched on to that all the time.
Well, if we do look at the table, things are very tight at the top of the table. As it stands at the point of recording, Glasgow City are top of the table, 1 point ahead of Rangers. Rangers, you do have a game in hand. Celtic sitting third on 33 points, so 5 points behind top of the table Glasgow City. There then is obviously a bigger gap between Hibs and then Hamilton down at the bottom with 5 points, but actually even the top 3 teams, and including Hibs in that, because they do give you a good run. How are you feeling about how the table's kind of shaping up?
But it means that for Hamilton, no matter who they play, they're going to play to win, because they need to put points on the table. And I think that if they win 3 or 4 games on the bounce very quickly, it can change the position of the league. And I think that that's something really new for us, because we've played Partick Thistle at Petershill as well. It was a really difficult match, because teams are structured and organised in their own environment, and that dynamic as well, it you need to find a different way to win sometimes, and it's not always going to be pretty, but it is coming down to who gets the 3 points on the table.
In terms of form though, Rangers, you've scored 52 goals, conceded 6. That's quite a stat.
Yeah, but I think that like no matter what sports person you speak to, you always want to be better, and you always think about the ones that you missed or the ones that you conceded, and why did we do that, or what happened in that, and like, so it's an amazing stat, but for us, like, we want to always be better and do better, and that's the biggest driver, and that's what will drive us this season. The players driving that competitiveness internally, but also to make these stats better and better.
Well, it's great to see actually women's football grow over even the past couple of years, of how much it's come, how far it's come on, and we are making great strides, but we can't shy away from the fact that this week the club captain from Raith Rovers, Tyler Rattray, she stepped away from the club on Tuesday. The following day, on the Wednesday, the team said that they'd have new shirts printed without the club's crest, and they'd seek permission to change their name and to play elsewhere. Now, this is due to the men's team signing David Goodwillie, a player who in 2017 was found to be a rapist in the civil court. Now, for you as somebody who's been involved in women's sport for so long, when you hear that news, the stance that the former captain, actually the club, are taking, how does that make you feel? They're kind of showing, actually, this is us, this is what we're doing.
I think it's really refreshing that women feel empowered to be able to speak out and to speak their opinion about something that can be seen as really controversial, but it's something that, like, over the last few years has become really prominent through the Me Too movement and loads of different things. And to speak out in a way that Tyler has is going to empower other people to be able to do the same thing. And if we can all do that and have really open and honest conversations, then we start to have diverse thinking, and through diverse thinking we can start to change people's minds and behaviours. Because in any situation or circumstance, behaviour that was maybe accepted 10, 20 or 30 years ago, people aren't accepting of it now. You know, the old school mentality where you shout and bawl at players or anything like that, or it's just, you need to treat people like humans. Absolutely. And that's the most important thing about it, and they're standing up for something that they believe in, and that has to take, you know, we need to take great pride in that and real courage.
It does take real courage, but it's interesting actually, because another team who we're going to hear from now is a team who have kind of gone out on their own, and that is Giffnock. So in Clann-Nighean Rangers, Butchie ha goper Colliery Amy ag Rangers, Cuideachd Nicola Hardy, Boireannaich Giffnock, a chuar vaud díreach ron a pandemic. An SWPL lan hís an achcha ha iad the toshug Cuideachd.
A budannaigh Giofnag ag háiseach a himmers ball-coise, agus a bíreadh go bhfuil cúisin idir bhí má deireadh gaibh.
Yeah, so the women's team was established right before COVID. So 2019, late 2019, we got together. We'd had a full youth pathway until that point, and then we had some players that needed to progress from the under-17s. We hadn't yet established that team, and decided, you know, this is the perfect time to finish off the women and girls section with our senior team. And since then, obviously, you know, we've got together over a hard period of time, and, you know, we're kicking on from here.
Ringen clubba chumas sa súnagaibh tron a pandemic, agus fat a mullach na cluicheadran a bhí a braindí cacha chéile iad leine, gus cartas na sér éachtere a hocal.
Yeah, it was quite a unique, obviously tricky time for us. As I said, that we'd just got together right before, like 2-3 months. We'd only trained in that period. We hadn't played a competitive game together. One of the luxuries that we found was we utilised the time, you know, using social media, using your Zoom channels, that the girls actually really got to know each other, and it's probably an opportunity that we couldn't have provided on the pitch. So, you know, your Zoom calls, your party house, whatever it was called. So they came back from that in their smaller group setting that they were allowed to train together, and then from there we've actually managed to kick on. There's the girls have formed great relationships, and you know, it's coming into fruition now with the results, and hopefully in the years and seasons to come that doesn't stop now.
It's just a very family orientated, very not fun but more enjoyable club to play for. Like these clubs like City and Rangers, there's a lot of pressure that comes with it playing for that team. There's a lot of competition and a lot of that kind of style, but coming here, yeah, there's competition, but it's on a nicer basis. It's a much more family orientated. You're in kind of a community almost, which it means a lot to be in a community club and to be a part of it. And it's also my local team as well, so also coach as well, so it's nice to kind of give back and play for them.
It's fantastic. When I was young, I was starting off, I had to travel, I think it was 50 minutes to the nearest like women's team, but now it's literally 20 minutes down the road, and honestly, like, what a difference it is to see the game grown. The girls are excellent. Again, it's like a family feel, the teamwork, the attitude, it's definitely great to be a part of it.
A coach Nicola Hardy a crutching go súnaigh iúnsach barach when a clubichin coirseach Harbach ala eile on an ALBA.
Spartans is the best model and probably the most similar model of where Giffnock want to aspire to, and we have had consultations in the past to see how we can develop our club, boys and girls, to, you know, get that community model that they've got their great community impact. We want to do that here as well, but we also want to be competitive on the pitch. So yeah, we have had some great chats with them, and hopefully in the years to come we aspire to be something close or similar to the standard that, you know, Spartans have got to, socially and from obviously a football side.
We're definitely progressing in that way. We're going forward again. We've got a new facility getting built just now, and again I think we're just wanting to progress and try and make the club more successful, and hope it develops, because we're getting kids in, young girls and young boys in left, right and centre, so I think it's just about growing the club.
It's a very ambitious club. Like, we're one of the biggest girls sections in Scotland for football. You know, we've got 4 under-12 teams now. Like, it's fantastic to see the development of the girls section, how it just keeps rising every day, and the fact that we're women and we're kind of being that inspiration for the younger teams means a lot for us.
Bhó an opéréile aich go Clann-Nighean Rangers, suring Nicola na ruta na haid iúnsach scenaring a professionta sin, a horse the Giofnag.
Oh, it's great, and from my own personal view I've managed to see what elite looks like, you know, at the highest level, but also I've been involved in the bottom, and not the bottom, the grassroots side of the game, and you know, how many differences have they got, how many similarities have they got, but equally they've got the same challenges. So taking some of that learning and bringing it into this environment can, you know, only hopefully help develop Giffnock and the girls section here.
Sé clubba go má urta chahan na Giofnag, agus leis na duines clícadar an cearst, bí blianichin go má servachala achcha.
Yeah, so obviously we formed 2 years ago, so we're quite in our infancy at the moment, but we have applied recently to go into what will become League One, so we've been in consultation with SWPL about how can we meet criteria to take that step, and that will hopefully complete our pathway and give the girls you know, a platform that's more professional orientated, and it gives some of the younger girls that stepping stone, whether they want to go and play senior really competitive football rather than just recreational. So this season coming, hopefully fingers crossed, we'll be in League One, and then we'll take it from there, just building on hopeful success there. I think realistically the club it's got the potential to have a fantastic infrastructure. Looking at the professional side of the game, having grassroots, community orientated team here, we won't be able to compete with that. But what we would like to achieve is to be a strong, professionally ran grassroots club that can feed onto the professional game, so be a strong stepping stone for girls that want to go and, you know, have those ambitions of playing professionally.
Amy, this is a team that you know very well, and Nicola too. Can you just tell us your involvement in actually all the years of knowing Giffnock?
Yeah, so I initially went to Giffnock at first when I was kind of like part-time at Rangers, and I brought Nick to Rangers as a goalkeeping coach, but I also took Nick in to Giffnock, and now she loves to hate me most of the time because I'm just with her all the time.
It sounds like you've worked together for actually a very long time, so you've probably seen this team develop loads over the past few years.
Yeah, I think that Giffnock's a phenomenal club, but just like the tenacity of the volunteers, the boards, not only in the girls' side but the boys' side as well. They're one of the biggest clubs in Scotland. You know, when I was there, I think they had over 360 volunteer coaches and I think about 1,100 players at the time, and it's grown since then as well. And Nick and the rest of the guys have done a fantastic job of growing the girls and the women's.
How lucky are they to have Nick on board?
Yeah, they're lucky because she's so engaging, and I think that she's a perfect fit for that, because it's been like two different worlds for her, because she's got the elite. Obviously she referenced that she's got the elite at Rangers, but she also recognises that Giffnock's more about the family feel, and it's great to hear the players speak and recognise that's what it's about. It's actually just about togetherness, getting together, keeping fit, having fun and going to play at football without any pressure.
I was just about to ask about that crossover, because like you say, it is so different, Rangers and Giffnock, two totally different teams, but actually, again, like you were just saying, it's having that kind of community and family feel at Giffnock, and actually enjoying your football and just not having that pressure of playing in the top league.
Yeah, because I think everyone feels like you need to aspire to that, but there's not. And you know, I see Rachel there as well, and Rachel, when I was at Glasgow City, was a young player there, and there's a pressure that comes and a weight that come with like certain badges because of the success of the women's team or whatever. But it's great to see her have found a home and not to have fell out of love with the game, because she feels like she belongs there. She's still keeping fit, she's keeping well, she's got loads of, you know, friends and stuff, and by all accounts has became a really integral part of the women's team, so that's really nice to see as well.
It is so good, especially the fact that a lot of it happened during COVID, just before the pandemic. So actually it's so nice seeing that they used that time to really get to know each other,
yeah,
and come back as a squad.
But that's what it's all about. Like, no matter whether it's elite or community, it's relationships, and it's trying to build relationships and try to get people to work together to be able to achieve what you want to achieve, and they've done a fantastic job of it in there.
I thought it was really interesting how Nicola was saying about wanting to base the model off of Spartans. I know that you know Debbie well,
yeah,
and again, that's a great team to look at and see kind of how far they've come and what they do for their squad, not only their squad, sorry, but for the whole community too.
Yeah, I think that's where the shift is in football now, because no matter what level, but Spartans do it so well. They just like recognise that actually there's such a human element to it, and they want to look after the surrounding areas and the community to that. And Debbie's been a really integral part to that as well. And I think that the thing that's amazing about it is they want to share it. It's not, you know, sometimes people want to keep it and keep what they're doing to themselves, but Spartans aren't like that. They want to share it and they want to educate, because they recognise the difference it can make throughout different communities as well. Because I remember when they first got that bit of ground, it was a mess, and now you go down and, you know, they've got the hub for education, they've got the building, they've got the 2 pitches and things, and Giffnock will aspire and they'll achieve that because of the people that they have behind it and pushing it.
Could you even imagined when you were at Giffnock just seeing how far they've come now? And actually, well, obviously you can, because you know Nicola so well, but even when you were there, how far they've come on and actually their aspiration now?
I can see it and I can believe it, because it's basically a group of really committed parents and people that have been involved in that for such a long period of time that drive it, and it's just about passion. It's just a real passion for them. I honestly, like, I'm still in awe when, you know, I used to work there, but actually for people to give up so much of their time to be able to keep that level, you know, from young kids all the way through pitches, referees, kit, like, it's phenomenal what they achieve.
And such a great advert for just loving football. Amy, thanks so much. Yn ysgwyd ágatha genw NicDhòmhnaill yn erasure Ghrannd, ha Ghrannd Ghrannd gwysin y hocl mar ha, agus ag cuibhle diag ha blaenach yn gymas tarafachal hosioch ore. Frein sy'n i riegus fain amach gerson hosioch hi erasure.
Háisí go bhainál op nach Chloe Ghrannd a réise go seoigí feichting a pure ag cuideachd.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people assume that me and my older sister got into motorsport because of our dad, but we actually didn't. We actually never knew that our dad did a little bit of kart racing after, you know, just having fun on his motorbike. But we found that out obviously later during the time we started. So how it all kind of began was my older sister Lucy, she went to the cinema and she saw the movie Ayrton Senna. And as soon as she saw that, she said, Dad, I want to race, I want to do this. And so she started about 14, 15. So she's 24 now, so obviously quite a bit older than me. And then just a few years later, when I was 7, I decided, I was like, can I get a shot as well? So I just kind of started then, and that's how it all became a thing.
Chará Chloe an dúil leis a léitse thurbheith a thuaidí san spárs, a i gcíise NicDhòmhnaill a thula sé na dtí chéile.
It's been incredible. So my first year in 2013, I wasn't ever racing. I was just, you know, that little kid dodging about for a bit of fun. It was nothing ever serious, so we never thought it'd become what it currently is. And I did cadets, Honda cadets until 2016, just racing, having a bit of fun. And then I moved up to mini max in 2017 to 2018, and they're a lot quicker. And all of a sudden, I got it kind of clicked with me all of a sudden, and the speed kind of, you know, it felt a lot better for me, and I got quite a bit quicker than what I was before. And then I won a championship, East of Scotland Kart Club. And then I moved up to Junior Max for 2019 and 2020, and I won that championship again and competed down south in England as well. I ended up here, and I was really quick, so I was in my prime. And then this year was just supposed to be the same, apart from we were going to be competing in the British Championship in kart racing. But then Motorsport Women contacted me, Tara Strong. She said, oh, there's this Junior Saloon Car Championship scholarship, go try out for it. So obviously we did. We didn't think that we would get it, but luckily turned up, did well, won it, and now I'm racing cars.
An na dábhílas na nuigtíoch cha Chloe a henimimeach mar a neachach a séar an na réiseach na hallpa, lína para dúki bec an úne go smúneach ar a hain.
I didn't expect it to happen, so I thought we were just going to go along to the evening for a bit of fun, really. And then Mum went open the catalogue to this page, and I did. I was like, oh my goodness, because obviously everybody was driving like minis and Formula Fords and like cars, and I was the only little go-kart there. So that was incredible for me to win that. But unfortunately, due to COVID, some of our events stopped, so we do need to still do those. And so that was unbelievable for me. And then a few months after that, I won BWRDC's 2020 Gold Star, which was just another huge thing for me. I felt I was a lot more focused on myself and my progression and looking at my data, watching my footage over again, going on the simulator. I was prepared a lot more last year than I ever was. I think it was because I was doing more competitive racing because I was all over the UK. So yeah, that was really, last year was unbelievable for karting for me.
Cha Chloe a henimimeach mar sár van a greiver an na brechting an na dábhílas fichiid. Ruth a haikama mochtal me yéing.
Yeah, that was unbelievable, because I think the previous year to that, I came third in their championship. So you basically, it is just a little championship for women, you know, just so we can all have a bit of fun, and then they have a really, really, really good awards night at the end of the year. So I'm excited for that. So they do that, and they have different for like rally, karting, saloon, single seaters. They have loads of different like bits, and you basically just enter where you finished out of how many drivers, and then they put it into their points. But obviously there's a limited amount you can enter, so it's fair for everyone. So yeah, that was really, really good. Unfortunately, there wasn't awards night last year because of COVID, so I just got a little trophy delivered to me. But it was really good.
Glé Chloe scholar ag farpas car saloon na haikri, is íon dachas go cuide sin éad cuasa í, gus na hamasan eich geréing.
Yeah, so the Junior Saloon Car Championship, GSCC, they run their own scholarship, which will be running again next year as well. So whoever wins it gets a free drive for the whole year, and they provide you with a team, with mechanics, driver coaches. They've been unbelievable. Like, they've been so good to me this year, and I've loved it. For me especially, because I don't know why, but because I'm only 15, but everyone's like, oh, the sooner you get up to cars, the better. So for me, even because I thought I was going to do karting again this year, I was just quite like, oh no, what if I don't get up to cars next year? Because we were planning on hopefully making this the moving year and then moving up next year, but we didn't know what to yet. So I was quite nervous, obviously, because I thought I might not get there and then that means my career's over. But luckily, because of the scholarship, I feel like it's put me back on my tracks that I wanted to be on like last year, and it's setting me up perfectly for my goals. And it's also learning how a car can move, and like it's so different to a car. Like I can't explain it, because when you first get in the car, you think, oh, I'm driving this as fast as I can. You're not, because by the end of the year, you realise, oh, the back end should be kicking out of it. All this, you understand car control, and you can't explain it. Like it's so cool to learn.
Chef díobh amas Chloe die unla a dreiveach an na formula a hun. Ach ha fis eiche checho moors ha han doelen sin. En draaste ha tollietje gidach wie dreiveach roots and B.
My current goal, I'm aiming to hopefully in a couple of years compete in the W Series, because I think that would be obviously incredible for me, getting a single seater, have a bit of fun. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to get there yet, but I definitely would like to do that eventually in the future. But I think the end goal for me, when I was younger, I would always say, oh, F1, because obviously that's the goal. But then when you step up to cars and realise the reality of the financial, it's almost impossible to get to Formula One because it's so expensive unless you work really, really hard and get unbelievable sponsors. So obviously if that became a chance for me, I would obviously take that. But I think more BTCC route or even British GT, I would just drive anything I got told to, really. I'll take anything.
What an enthusiastic young girl, and also just at the age of 15 you can tell she just has so much going for her in this sport. It's really great to see.
I think it's just that she finds it so much fun. Like it's contagious, isn't it? It almost kind of makes you want to get down to the cart and like just go and give it a go yourself. But yeah, it's like testament. It's obviously really intricate as well because it's quite dangerous.
Yeah, well, like you say, giving it a go yourself. I mean, as Chloe was mentioning, it wasn't until she kind of hit a certain speed that she was like, okay, I've got this now. And then you're thinking, oh, how fast were you going?
I know, anytime I go above 30 miles an hour and like have to turn a corner or spill out somewhere fast, I'm like, oh my God. And then
so don't get in a car with you, better with Chloe.
Absolutely, because Chloe's like, yeah, you need to kick out your back end and stuff. I'm like, do you?
You could learn things from her.
I know.
But I mean, for young girls starting out in sport, just having that drive and commitment, how important is that? Because you can see it in abundance from Chloe.
Mm-hmm. And I think as well, like F1's obviously working. There's been some really prominent female drivers that have came through now, again, to increase visibility and a pathway for that. And obviously the key thing is that it's so expensive. I can't imagine it's cheap, and Chloe made reference to it there as well. Like, but it's really important that we, you know, I'm sure she seems pretty determined. She'll find a way. Definitely.
And again, even for Chloe, she's still young, but actually she probably is right now and will go on to be another role model for young girls and women getting into a sport it is at the moment dominated by men.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's just important, isn't it? Because anytime you probably go, and I've been to some of the go-karting places about, then it just brings out this like crazy side in you, you know.
You don't go 30 in the go.
No, yeah, absolutely do not, you know, but like to be able to go and just get people to give it a go, that's what it's all about, you know, and they could find their passion as well. And it's great to see Chloe being able to hopefully inspire other young girls to do that as well.
Absolutely, we do wish her all the best. I've got no doubt that the W Series is for her. But if we move back on to football,
yep,
and the league, there is a big game coming up for Rangers this weekend. You face Glasgow City.
Yep.
Can you just give us your initial thoughts on that tie?
I just think it will be a great game again. I hope that, you know, both teams have obviously got a lot to prove. I think that Eileen's came in as well, which puts a bit of a different spin on it, because obviously Scott Booth moved on, and the last time we played Glasgow City, Ghrannd was in charge, and now Eileen. So, you know, tactically how they'll shape up and things will be quite interesting. So it's a bit of a different challenge. But I just really hope it's a great game.
It will be a great game, I have no doubt about it. The last time you played, like you say, when Grant was in charge, it was a 1-1 draw. The goals did come in quite quick succession. If I got this right, it was 55 minutes that Rangers opened a scoring and Glasgow City equalised just on the 61st minute. Are you expecting another kind of game like that? You don't know? No,
I think that it's, you don't know, and the only thing that I need to try and remember is not to drink too much coffee before it, because I'm pretty sure in the 1-1 game I thought I was going to have a heart attack at some point. So no, I think that is it. And even at that game, there was opportunities for both teams to win that game. Like, it wasn't, you know, it was 1-1, but it could have very quickly went either way. So we know that we're going to have a really competitive game. Glasgow City have obviously brought in some players. We've brought in Ghrannd as well. So there's this kind of like unknown element to it, because you don't know how the players will fit in or if it will change. And so it should be really exciting.
Without being too measured in your response.
I'm going to be measured in my response.
Whoever, if a team does go on to win this game, if it's not a draw, do you think this could be the kind of turning point in the league of who does go on to win this game could then run away with it?
So I'm not going to be measured in that. So I absolutely do not think that this year, because I think that when you see some of the other teams and some of the teams that like we've spoke about previously in this, you can lose points, you know, because Glasgow City have still got to play Celtic. Celtic, you know, if they could beat Glasgow City and us, they could come back into it. Then you've got Partick Thistle and Hamilton and all that are going to be able to fight, and they will try and take points and be able to get every point on the board they can. So I don't think this match will define the season. I think that that's what makes this season one of the most exciting.
We will come back to that. We'll see what happens. But Amy, thank you so much for joining us again this week. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Well, sinna ar sanna nach and dheachcain bí ard ofgar na Strathclyde Sirens agus Ballín ALBA, Claire Nelson and Shaw Colroom. Jen Keen Shaw go bhfuil si bh lent an BBC ALBA ar YouTube, gus cumil suas rís a thula sin cocheangailtear i trí seascad. Agus nach díochanig go bhfuil Rangers a chluich Glasgow City bio ar BBC ALBA, NicDhòmhnaill sa tíain. Hísin sibh an ahuras.